Good afternoon, students. So today I'm going to talk to you about how to do My Tongue is Divided into Two, and it is due tonight before midnight. We did this in class, so it won't take that long, I promise. So My Tongue is Divided into Two. It is due tonight before midnight. Students, today we will read and write just sentences for My Tongue is Divided into Two by Quique Avilés. Please make sure to follow what I do during class. This assignment is worth 10 points and due before midnight on Wednesday, January 20th, which is today. So when you open up the assignment, this is what it looks like. Make it bigger. So it goes and it says, directions, please read the following poem. Afterwards, write a just sentence for each stanza. So I'm going to read the poem at this point, and then we're going to write the just sentences, okay? My tongue is divided into two, by virtue, coincidence, or heaven. Words jumping out of my mouth, stepping on each other, enjoying being a voice for the message, expecting conclusions. My tongue is divided into two, into heavy accent bits of confusion, into miracles and accidents, saying things that hurt the heart, drowning in a language that lives, jumps, translates. My tongue is divided by nature, by her crazy desire to triumph and conquer. This tongue is cut up into equal pieces. One wants to curse and sing out loud, the other one simply wants to ask for water. My tongue is divided into two. One side likes to party, the other one takes refuge in praying. Tongue, English of the funny sounds. Tongue, funny sounds in English. Tongue, sounds funny in English. Tongue, in funny English sounds. My tongue sometimes acts like two, and it goes crazy, not knowing which side should be speaking, which side translating. My tongue is divided into two. A border patrol runs through the middle, frisking words, asking for proper identification, checking for pronunciation. My tongue is divided into two. My tongue is divided into two. I like my tongue. It says what feels right. I like my tongue. It says what feels right. So at this point, we're going to go over here and we're going to start writing our first couple of just sentences. As you notice, this poem has, I believe, 42 lines and 10 stanzas. So we are going to have to write 10 just sentences. So, now that we've done that, the first thing that you need to understand about this poem is that it is written by somebody that has their tongue divided, which is a disagreement. That's one of our vocab words. And so, when it says my tongue is divided, the speaker's tongue is in disagreement because they speak two languages. They are bilingual, and that's what we're going to write. So, our first just sentence says, the speaker doesn't seem to be able to communicate their thoughts clearly because they are bilingual. So at this point, if you need to pause the video, you can go ahead and pause the video. So the next one says, my tongue is divided into two, into heavy accents, bits of confusion, into miracles and accidents, saying things that hurt the heart, drowning in a language that lives, jumps, and translates. So here, the speaker is finding it very hard to communicate, and so because they feel like it's hard to communicate, they feel very confused, and they are drowning in the English language. So I'm going to go and I'm going to put, the speaker finds it hard to communicate, and they feel confused or like they are drowning. Make sure you put that in quotation marks because we are quoting from the poem. So, at this point, you can definitely go and pause the video. So the second just sentence says, the speaker finds it hard to communicate and they feel confused or like they are drowning in the language. So this is our just sentence 1, just sentence 2. Let's go to just sentence 3. My tongue is divided by nature, by her crazy desire to triumph and conquer. So over here, the speaker seems determinada, to triumph or conquer. And those are some of our vocab words. Their struggle to communicate. So at this point, if you need to pause the video, you can most definitely pause the video for just sentence 3. So number 4, our fourth stanza says, this tongue is cut up into equal pieces. One wants to curse and sing out loud. The other one simply wants to ask for water. So the tongue has this desire to curse when you're angry, to sing when you're happy, and to ask for water. But if you don't have the words to do that, you're not able to communicate that. And so we're going to come over here. The speaker feels torn. Torn is when you're messed up on the inside, you're broken on the inside, between wanting to be able to express themselves such as cursing and singing, period. But also wants to be able to ask for simple things like water. So at this point, if you need to pause the video for the fourth stanza's just sentence, you can pause the video. So, next one, my tongue is divided into two. One side likes to party, the other one takes refuge in prayer. So, the speaker is no longer talking about language. Instead, they are speaking about culture. And that's the thing, guys, is when we are talking about the things we experience, especially people that come from different cultures, some things that are different in one culture is different in another culture. So maybe the speaker is from Hispanic culture and they like to party, quinceañeras and holiday parties, but they also enjoy going to church and praying. So at this point, if you need to pause the video, you can go and pause the video. So, next stanza. Tongue, English of the funny sounds. Tongue, funny sounds in English. Tongue sounds funny in English. Tongue, funny English sounds. So, over here, we notice that the words are repeated here, but in different orders, because they're not repeated the same way. So the speaker feels confused when they speak English, just like in stanza 2. And that's the thing. In stanza 2, it talks a lot about being confused when you're speaking English and having those feelings. And we see it again here in our 6th stanza. Sorry, I had to count backwards. So if you need to pause the video, you can go and pause the video. So, next stanza. My tongue sometimes acts like two and it goes crazy, not knowing which side should be speaking, which side translating. And so, at this point, the speaker and the poet have decided to make the tongue personified. Personified has to do with personification, when you give an object human or animal-like qualities. So over here, we're going to write, the tongue is now personified, period. The speaker describes when you are speaking one language and slip into another language. So you might be talking in English, but you end up in Spanish, or you might be talking in Spanish and end up in English. It's like when you're talking to your friends and you're like, ¿Cómo se dice? Or, you're trying to, you don't remember the word, and so your brain is going crazy, your mind is going crazy because you're like, what side is speaking? What side am I actually translating? Which language am I predominantly speaking, and which language am I thinking in? So if you need to pause the video, you can go and pause the video. The next one is, my tongue is divided into two. A border patrol runs through the middle frisking words, asking for proper identification and checking for pronunciation. So at this point, the speaker is mentioning a cultural experience that some immigrants may face. Sometimes people come to the United States and they aren't citizens and they get something called a green card, and that is your identification, and that's how people can identify who you are and where you're coming from. And so Border Patrol is what we know is at the U.S.-Canadian border and the U.S.-Mexico border, and so the Border Patrol is there to make sure that people do not come into this country illegally. And so he's saying, my tongue is divided into two, a Border Patrol runs through the middle, perhaps mentioning how the the poet or the speaker got here to America. And so what's happening is the poet or the speaker is sharing their cultural experience. So the speaker mentions another cultural experience that an immigrant might deal with and shares a perspective on the immigration process. So at this point, if you need to pause the video, you can go and pause the video. So this one's pretty easy. It says, my tongue is divided into two. My tongue is divided into two. And that is repetition. Repetition is when you have words or phrases that are repeated for emphasis. So the poet or the speaker wants us to know that their tongue is divided into two. That's why they're repeating it. And we know it's divided into two because they speak two languages. They have two different cultures. They have the Spanish one and the English one. So we're going to put the speaker repeats that their tongue is divided. So if you need to pause the video, go and pause the video. Last one says, I like my tongue. It says what feels right. I like my tongue. It says what feels right. And so at the end of the day, guys, the speaker might be confused when they're speaking, but the speaker still loves themselves. They're still proud of who they are as a person. Yes, their tongue is divided. Yes, they speak two different languages. Yes, they struggle. But they're still happy to be here. So we're going to go and put, in the end, the speaker is confused when they speak, but they are proud of themselves. So if you need to pause the video for the last sentence, please pause the video. And that is one of the last poems we'll be reading for a while. My Tongue is Divided into Two by Quique Avilés. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you submit the assignment before midnight. So I will see you guys soon. Have a great day.